Hi, in this video, we're going to review Android Fundamentals 2.3 Implicit Intents. Here I am over at the website, and we're going to create a simple little application that demonstrates what implicit intents do. There are two types of intents. We have explicit and implicit. We've already seen explicit intents where we define the specific activity that we're launching into when we go from one activity to the next. That's called explicit because we're saying exactly which one to go to. Implicit is a way to tell the operating system, hey, show the user whatever apps are available that can handle this particular action that I want to do. In this example, we're going to use launching into a website or opening a map location or sharing text. There are lots of different apps on your device that could handle each one of these. And because of the implicit intent, we allow the user to choose an option. Okay, let's go over to Android Studio. Let's create a new Android Studio project. Let's select Empty Activity and choose Next. And let's call this Implicit Intents. And we'll go with the defaults and choose Finish. Once that finish is loading, we're presented with our main activity.java class and our activity_main.xml file. First thing we want to do before we get into the design, let's create some string resource so that we can have labels for the text and the buttons. We want to go to the res folder. If you don't see this, make sure you have the Android filter selected and then under app and the res folder and then values and strings. Let's double click and open that. Here we can enter some string resource values. The simplest approach is to use the editor. Go ahead and choose Open Editor. From here, we can click the plus and add a new key value pair. So the first one is called edit text underscore URI. And the value is going to be HTTP. Whoops, I must have hit caps lock. http://developer.android.com. Go ahead and click OK. Let's add another one. This one is a button underscore URI. And this is going to be open website. Press return. Let's add another. Let's go for edit text underscore LOC for location. And the value is Golden Gate Bridge. Let's add another one. And this is button underscore LOC called open location. The next one is edit text underscore share. And its value is single quote, "'Twas brillig and the slithy toves." I have no idea what that is. Okay, click OK. And there's our values. Oh, sorry. One more. My mistake. Let's add one more. And it is button underscore share. And it is share this text. All right. Someone was screaming at the TV. Hey. I don't know why you're watching YouTube on TV, but I guess you can, huh? Okay, let's close the editor. So there's all of our text. Let's go back to our activity_main. Let's choose the text editor. I want to give myself a little more room here. First thing we need to do is change this layout to a linear layout. If I select all of the text and I type linear and I go ahead and press tab, make sure that it updates on both the opening and closing tags. Then we need to, at the end of this, we need to say orientation, press tab, is vertical. And then finally, we want to add padding, and the padding is going to be 16 dp. Okay. Let's go ahead and delete this text view. And let's add an edit text. So I'm going to do open tag, and we're going to say edit text. And for this, we want this to match parent for the width, and then we want it to wrap content for the height. Next, we're going to add another property for text, and the text is going to be at string, and it's going to be the edit text underscore URI, which we've already created. Then we also need to give this an ID. Let's go ahead and put the ID up here at the top so it's easy to find. And we're going to say ID, it's going to be that, the plus ID slash, website underscore edit text. Okay. Next, we need to add a button below that. So we're going to say button. And here we're going to say wrap content for the button width and wrap content for the height. So all I'm doing is typing the first few letters and then pressing tab to get that in there. Let's add an ID, and we're going to say ID is open underscore website underscore button. Next, we're going to say layout underscore margin, and then we want bottom. Right there, that one. Press return, and it's going to be 24 dp. Next, we press return. We need the text, which is string button URI. Okay. Finally, we're going to add an on click. And for that, we're going to say open website. Now, we haven't created this yet, so it's going to complain. But let's go to our design view and take a look at what we have. So we have our text and our buttons. Very good. Next, because we're going to repeat this, let's just go ahead and copy this text and press Command C, Control C, and paste. And let's change these values. So for website, we're going to say location underscore edit text. And for the string, we're going to say edit text underscore LOC. For the button, we want open underscore location button. And then the text is going to be button LOC, and the on click will be open location. Finally, we would paste it one more time, and we've got the other button and the edit text, and that one is going to be share underscore edit text for its ID, and then for its string, it is edit text, and then I'm just going to arrow key down and press return to share. And the button is going to be share underscore text underscore button, and then button share, and finally we're going to have share text. Okay, let's take a look at the design view, and there we have our three options. Very good. Okay, now let's fix some of these here. So for the open website, I'm going to click into the text, and then I'm going to press Alt Enter and press Create Open Website in Main Activity. And there it goes. So now from here, we need a couple of variables. Up here at the top, we're going to create a private edit text and press tab, and that now has our import. Notice the imports are hidden by default, but if you twirl that open, you can see the imports that we need. And we're going to say website edit text. Okay. In the onCreate we want to assign that to our edit text value. So we're going to say m website edit text equals find view by ID. We're going to say r.id dot website edit text. Okay, very good. The next step is to add the text for our method. First thing we need to do is get the URL. So we're going to say string URL equals m website edit text dot get text dot toString. Then we need to create a URI object. And so we're going to say URI and we press tab and that brings in the import and we're going to call this web page equals URI dot parse and then URL. So it's going to convert that string into a URI object. Next, we need to create our intent. So the intent is intent, and we're just calling it intent equals new intent, and the we're going to use a constant called intent dot action underscore view. So this is the one we want. So we want that constant. And then we're going to pass in the URI, which is web page. Okay. Now, this is slightly different than previous intents that we've created. Here we're using an action constant. Notice if I go back here, if I delete this and I just say action, notice here, these are all the various actions that are available to us. There's quite a bit here. And as you click through, you can see what each one does. The action view is going to call viewing to load this given data, and based on the type of data, then the operating system knows what to do. So in order to have us select or choose an activity for this intent, we need to call what is called the resolve activity. So the next line we're going to say if intent.resolve activity, and here we're going to say get package manager, and we're going to say if this is not equal to null, then we're going to call start activity and intent. Now the reason we do this is we check to see, we say resolve activity to see if there's an app that exists or a package, an application that can handle this intent. If that exists, then we're going to start the activity. Otherwise, it would cause an error or crash. So we don't want to load something that isn't available on the device. In this if statement, we can say else, we can say log d implicit intents, and then we have a message to say can't handle this. So that's a way to kind of capture any error that may happen. Make sure if we don't resolve that, press Alt-Enter in order to import that statement. Okay. So let's just review what's happened. We have our website edit text. We created a variable to reference the text edit text object. When onCreate is called, we get the value and assign it. We instantiate this member variable. Then when we call the open website, we create a string for the text that we're getting from this edit text box, and create a URI, which then parses the string. And here we're creating an intent with an action view intent. Then we check to see that we have a resolve activity that this can be loaded. We don't want to call an intent. We don't want to start an activity on an intent if there's nothing that can open it. So that we handle that, and then if it fails, we just log out a message. All right, let's go back to activity main and let's go and implement the open location. So click into that, Alt Enter, create open location view in main activity. This behaves similarly, so we need a private member variable, private edit text. We're going to call this m location edit text. And guess what? We're going to do this. We're going to say m location edit text equals find view by ID r.id. Location edit text. Awesome. In our method, we need to get a reference to the string that's in the edit text. So we're going to say string loc equals m location edit text dot get text dot to string. Next, we need to parse this string as a URI object as well. We're going to say URI address URI equals URI dot parse. Now here we're going to use special text that turns this string into a query that handles it for geolocation. And the way to do that is we are going to prepend or put text before this to say GEO colon 0, 0, and then a question mark, and then Q equals, and then close the string, and then we say plus LOC. Okay, let's look at this for a second. What this is we're taking and creating a string that is going to be parsed as a geolocation. And the text we use is geo colon 0, 0, which means we're looking up for a location, and then Q equals, and that represents the query that we're going to load, which is this text. So when we have an address URI, what we're going to end up with is a long string plus the text, which in this case is Golden Gate Bridge. Okay, next we create our intent, and we say intent equals new intent, and we're going to call the same whoops, I don't need multiple intent dot action view, because again we're looking for something that can view this particular URI, and then we're going to pass in address URI. We're going to do the same thing as before, where we're going to check if something can handle this intent. In fact, I'm just going to copy and paste this text because it's the same. Okay, very good. All right, we're getting close. We want to see this in action, but let's go back to activity main and let's resolve our last method. We want Alt Enter, or what is it? Command return on a Mac. Create share text, and let's do the same similar thing. Private edit text M, and this is called share text edit text. And then finally we do this. M share text edit text equals find view by ID r.id. What did we call it? Share edit text. Okay, perfect. This is similar as before. We're going to get a reference to the string. So we say string text equals m share edit text dot get text. Whoops, hold on. Get text dot to string. And here we need to define what is called the MIME type, which is what kind of text we're sharing. So here we're saying string MIME type equals, and then in quotes it's text / plain, and then close the quote, close that out. Next we need to create what is called an intent builder. So we're going to use a class called shareCompat.intent intent builder. And from here, we're going to say dot. So I press return dot from, which is this, the activity. Press return and we say dot set type, which, whoops, come on, which is MIME type. And then dot set chooser title, which is share this text with, and then a colon, and then dot set text. I get ahead of myself. Set text, and then the text string, and then dot start chooser. So what this does is it allows you to create this share widget, which is the slide up that gives you the options of how to share the text. And what it does is we're customizing the user experience. If we launch an intent that has an action view where we have a browser or a URL, it's going to load the apps that are available, but it's going to just do it by default, and whatever's on the device, you can pick one or two. You've seen kind of this thing where it says open this, and then you have an option to always open with. The point here is that we're creating a customized share widget so that we have text that we're sharing with, and we're defining the type of text that we're wanting, because text could be shared in many different ways, and we don't want every single option. We want one that handles text/plain or plain text. And then from here, we're starting the chooser. Okay, now's the time we've all been waiting for. Let's go ahead and run this. I'm going to select an emulator just for our purposes today and click OK. Okay, let's try this out. Let's click Open Website. And here it launches into a browser, and because I haven't opened it, here we go. Perfect. Look at that. So now we're into the browser. If I click the back button on my device, I can go back into my app. Let's go ahead and choose Open Location. And this launches the Maps app. And of course, if you've never used it before, here we go. Look at that. Sweet. All right, let's go back. And let's say share this text. All right, now this is on the emulator, of course, so there's only a couple of options here, but if I had other apps installed, so here you can see these are all the options. So here's our custom text, share this text with, and then we can choose. If we had Messenger installed or some other apps, it would give you a lot more options. Awesome, very good. Let's go back to our app and let's stop this. So far, all we've done is called an implicit intent to send data out to an application. Now, you can create an app that will receive an implicit intent. So we're going to do that now. What we want is to create another application. So go ahead and choose File and choose New Project. And we're going to choose Empty Activity and choose Next. And for this, we're going to call this Implicit Intents Receiver. And we'll go with that and choose Finish. So here, let's go to our activity main and let's edit this a little bit. We're going to delete this. We don't want to preset the text here. Let's give this an ID. We're going to say ID, and then we're going to call this text underscore URI underscore message. And then let's set a property of text size, and we're going to say 18 SP. And then we're going to set text style to bold. Okay. In order for this app to receive an implicit intent, we need to set an intent filter. And the way we do that is we change the Android manifest file. So let's go to the Android manifest, and we have to set this, we can ignore that. We want to add, notice that under main activity, we have an intent filter. And notice it has main and launcher. So these are filters that allow this application, this activity to be the main one that launches when the app starts. We're going to add another intent filter. So we're going to say intent filter. And inside of this, we're going to add the following. We're going to say action, and we're going to say name is android.intent.action.view, and then close that out. The next is category, and the name is android.intent.category. Whoops, not, sorry, back up. Category.default. And then we add another category, Android name, and this is android.intent.category.browsable. And then finally, we're going to say data, and the scheme is going to be HTTP, and the host is going to be developer.android.com. So let's review what this means. So here we've set an action that any intent with view actions, so we're going to filter against that. This app will show up under that filter. For the category, we have to have intent as default in order to receive any implicit intent. Browsable means that it can request browsable links from web pages, email, or other sources. And then here we have a data filter, which contains a scheme of HTTP and a host name. So the data filter, it says it has a restriction on both the kind of links it will accept and the host name for those URIs. If you'd prefer your receiver to be able to accept any links, you can leave out the data element. So now we've set this Android manifest up to receive implicit intents when the app is running. And when the app is loaded on the device, I should say, when you call an implicit intent that references this action and category, that allows this app to be available in that list to choose from. Now we need to be able to process the intent when it comes in. So if I go back to my activity, let's see, main activity. In the onCreate method, we need to capture the intent. So we're going to say intent, press tab, bring that import in, intent equals get intent. From here, we're going to get the data. So we're going to say URI equals intent, intent.get data. From here, we need to check if the URI is not null. So we say if URI is not equal null, then we're going to say string URI string equals, and then URI colon space, then close the quote, and then plus URI dot toString. From here, we have extracted the string, and we've kind of prepended it by saying this is URI whatever, and from here we're going to get a reference to the text view. It's text view equals find view by ID. We're going to say r.id.text underscore URI message. We need to get that imported. And I realize, of course, I need to cut this and put it within the if statement. My mistake. Okay. So we have a reference to the text view, and then we say text view dot set text URI underscore string. Okay, so now we can run both apps and see this in action. So first, let's run the implicit intents receiver app. So go ahead and click run, and we'll run it in our device or emulator. Once this has loaded, let's go ahead and go back out, and we can stop this, go back to our application, stop this, and then here I can go back to, and I've already got implicit intents open, so let's go ahead and run that one. And from here, we can click Open Website. And now notice that because we have this other app installed and it has the intents filter set for this, we can go ahead and click Implicit Intents, and we can just say just once, and then it launches. Check it out. Now, notice this. If I click back, and if I change this to, something like developer.google.com, and then I click Open Website, notice that it didn't give me the option. It didn't give me the choice. And the reason for that, let me go back here. If I go back to my app, go back to Implicit Intents Receiver. Remember, in the manifest file, we set a data schema that said we're only accepting links that are developer.android.com. So this is a way for you to, if you would use this if you had written multiple apps in your, like say you have a suite of apps and one app does one functionality and another does another, and you want to go between them, you can use this intent filter that then registers for and listens for this type of activity request. All right, very good. So now we've learned how to use implicit intents. If I change this back, for example, and I say android.com, and then I press open website, it gives me the options, right? And so I can do that, and we're good. Awesome. Well, thank you for watching. You'll probably notice I didn't have my face showing. I've been trying to get stuff done faster, and it's a little quicker if I can record videos and not have to worry about editing my face. And sometimes I don't like to shower, So anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.